Hello, this is Mrs. Murdock, and I'm explaining claim evidence and reasoning today. Sometimes it's abbreviated CER. So if you ever see the letter CER in this class, when I say write a CER, this is what I'm talking about. So you write a claim evidence reasoning after you've finished making your graph for a set of data, right? So this graph here shows a set of data that's showing the amount of plant growth, which is the DV over here, depending on the amount of fertilizer down at the bottom, right? So down here, this is your IV, right? And over here, this is your DV, the growth of the plants. And it's well titled. It's the effective amount of fertilizer on the plant growth. You got a good scale here that's nice and even. The bars are the same width. It's following all those nice rules we taught you about good graphing. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use this graph to write a claim. The claim is the first thing that you write. So the claim is a sentence that just very simply explains the relationship between the IV and the DV. What is the amount of fertilizer doing to the amount of plant growth? The best way to start a claim sentence is just to start with, okay, it's been a long morning, as the amount of fertilizer increases. So as the IV increases, the growth of the plants. Okay, raise your hands if you think the growth of the plants is decreasing. Raise your hands if you think it's increasing. That would be the way to end it then. Increases. That's it. Okay. So it'll always be as the IV increases because that's the determining factor of the lab. That's what the scientist is manipulating, right? You're always going to have low and high values of your IV. You manipulated it that way in the first place. But the second sentence, the second part of the claim is, what's going on with the DV, the growth of the plants, what's it doing? Look at the graph, write down what it's doing. It's that simple, okay? All right, so that's the claim. A single sentence, how are the IV and the DV related? The next part is the evidence. So the evidence is exactly what it sounds like. What numerical values from this graph up here are supporting what you just said in your claim? The easiest way to do this is to connect the lowest value of your IV and its result with the highest value of your IV and its result. So 2 sentences is all you need here, right? When 0 mils of fertilizer was used, the plants grew 60 centimeters, right? 0 mils, 60 centimeters. That's your lowest value, right? Actually, your control value, which is a good thing to use. And then when 15 mils of fertilizer was used, the plants grew 90 centimeters. That's evidence. That's what you need. It needs to be quantitative and specific, but it can be just that simple. Take the lowest value of the IV, connect it with its DV, and take the highest value of the IV and connect it with its factor. That's your support that, yes, more fertilizer, more growth. Okay. The final part is sometimes what confuses students the most, the reasoning part. And the reasoning is what I'm going to hope you take the most time with. Now, your graphs aren't always going to be simple, you do more homework, you get more test scores, right? They're not always going to be that simple. We're going to do graphs on photosynthesis, on diffusion, on enzyme activity, all kinds of things. All year, you're going to have these graphs to do. And when you get to your reasoning part, that's where what you want to do is go to your notes, go to the information that we've given you in the class in your notebook to help you do this part. Because this is where you explain why. Why is more fertilizer making the plants grow more? Your reason needs to be specific, okay? So in this case, if I were going to write a specific reason why more fertilizer would help plants grow, I would say this. And if you start with the reason, that's a good way to start that sentence. The reason more fertilizer helps plants grow more is because fertilizers contain nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, which help them build more cells. And the more cells you have, the bigger you are. That's it. So that's very specific, and it refers to real science. And if you are going to be writing reasoning for why doing more homework increases test scores, you also need to think about specific reasons why doing more homework might help a student do better on a test. Okay? All right, so that is what I wanted to express to you, and I hope that's helpful.